नमस्ते गुरुजी। जय गुरुजी महाराज। Namaste Sangat ji. On behalf of Multilingual Global Sevadar team with folded hands, we thank you our Guruji Maharaj for entrusting and enabling us with the seva of organizing Sangat sharing. Today we have Versha Malhotra ji with us. She will share her journey with Guruji Maharaj. As we all wish to deepen our connection with Guruji Maharaj, dear Versha ji, we look forward for hearing your experiences and blessings from Guruji Maharaj. Over to you, Varsha Aunty. Jai Guruji.
Jai Guruji. Guruji ko naman. I bow my head at Guruji's lotus feet and thank him for giving me this opportunity to share my blessings, which he has restored on me. And a lot of shukrana to this beautiful, amazing, multilingual channel through whom we can share our blessings of Guruji, which have helped millions and millions of people around the world to get his blessings also. So Sangaji, this journey with Guruji is something which we cannot come across. It is him who decides when he wants to take us in his fold. And that is what he does with each one of us. The timing is his, the grace is his. And when he does do that, it is a life-changing, it is totally life-changing, because he takes control of your life and we don't even know how he's sailing us through. He's actually sailing us through. So I will start from the beginning when I came into his fold. When I attended my first satsang, which is a gathering of same-minded people where we sit and meditate, I was asked to attend a satsang. And I went with the thought that, okay, I'll be there for about 10-15 minutes and I will seek Guruji Maharaj's blessings, because yes, we had a lot of spiritual leaders and people coming to our house. Where my mother was very spiritual, my grandparents were very spiritual. But in the form of Guru, we had never met anybody. So understanding the concept would be the same. I would go get my prasad, which is the divine food we get, which is your medicine, one understands. And I will come back. So the moment I entered his darbar is where we all sit, as you can see. Guruji's gaddi, that is his seat where he sits. It was there. There was Shabad Bani going on. Shabad Bani is the writings of our gurus, which are compiled in Guru Granth Sahib. That is the Granth that we have in which everything is written, which is a guideline for us human beings to follow on our spiritual path. So when I entered, the scenario was very different. Everybody was sitting in silence. And there was so much energy in that place when I walked in. It's very difficult to explain it because you only experience it. And the best way to experience that is to go for a satsang and sit and meditate with like-minded people. So I just sat down, and for me, it was like he had just enveloped me with his love, with his energy. And I was totally connected with him from that very moment. I sat through the entire duration of an hour and a half, 2 hours. I had my langar prasad, which, like I said, is the blessed food which we offer God, our Guru. And we consume it because that becomes our medicine with his blessings. And after that, when satsang sharing started, like I'm sharing my blessings of Guruji with you, when the Sangat started sharing her blessings. I just could not believe. For me, it was so difficult to fathom that God has come to this earth to bless us. But as the time progressed, as I kept listening to more and more blessings, I realized that there is something definitely to it. And I could feel his energy that time. So I knew there was a shift in my life that very moment. So that evening, I went back home, but I could not sleep the whole night because I kept thinking about who Guruji is and how his blessings have come to these people. So next morning, I wanted to know more about Guruji. And I called up the Sangat. She's Anita Kumar, she's old Sangat. And she had taken her, she had come to our building. She had bought one of the flats which we had given to the builder. And nothing is a coincidence, like Guruji said. With him, there is nothing like a coincidence because he had told her when he was in his Chola, when he was there, this would be somewhere around 2000. He had told her that your next home will be in Vasant Vihar. So we do understand that it was his planning, and that is how I would connect to him. I asked her to tell me more about Guruji. She shared her journey where he had treated her of skin cancer, he had treated her of asthma, and he had given her a new life. And when I was going to leave, she asked me, would I like to attend a satsang the same evening? Which I said yes, because I wanted to know so much more about him. From there, my journey starts. And regularly, she started messaging me, maybe 4 or 5 times a week. And I started going for satsang. I started visiting the Bade Mandir. Now, Bade Mandir is a temple which Guruji has made for his Sangat. And he has put so much power. He said, Maine 12 Jyotirlings. He has put the power of 12 Jyotirlings in that. And it is one of the most powerful temples in the world. It is not called Bade Mandir. Bade means big because of the size. But it is because of the power it holds, which Guruji has put over there for us to be able to absorb and heal us at every level. Now, the duration I attended my first satsang, I was going through extreme knee pain. I used to have excruciating knee pain and shoulder pain. I had visited many doctors, many surgeons, and they were all of the same opinion that Versha, you need to get a surgery done, a knee replacement, shoulders, we will do a surgery, and everything will be fine after that. Now, I had reached a point where I used to be on 3, 4 painkillers a day. And for me, it was okay, let me just go ahead and get everything done. So that was the time when Guruji took me in his fold. So we understand now that when we need him the most in our life, he takes us in his fold to bless us. But we have to be open to that. That is what is very important. So when we go regularly to him, he's filling us with his energy. And it's like a mirror that is tarnished. When you clean it, you are able to see clearly. So this is what he does. There's a lot of cleansing process that happens when we keep going for satsangs or we visit the Bade Mandir. And in the duration that I was going, I completely forgot about that I have to go in for a surgery. But I think that blankness that came into me was his grace. After about 2 months of regularly going for satsangs, I realized one day in Bade Mandir that I have not been eating my painkillers for a couple of weeks. And that realization was just sudden because it did not occur to me earlier. And that moment, I just folded my hands and I told Guruji Maharaj in Bade Mandir that Guruji, would I ever be able to bow on my knees in front of you? That was what came from my heart. Because for me to kneel down was totally impossible with the sort of pain I had. For me, even to stand up and take my first step, I had to think a lot because I knew the pain would be intense. So from that point to this point, now that evening, it was His grace that night in my dreams. I see that I am in His darbar, and a hand comes in slow motion, takes me to where He's sitting, and it makes me kneel down. Next day, I'm in Bade Mandir, and not knowing what is happening, I'm on my knees. So a lot of shukrana to Guruji Maharaj for this blessing of his. And after 2 days, I get my first dream darshan of Guruji Maharaj. And he had very clearly said that when I come in your dreams, it's not a dream, it is reality. They are his blessings. He's there before you. So I see it's a big terrace, and it's not a straight or a flat terrace. It's a flat terrace, but it's not a rectangular or a square terrace. It's a zigzag terrace, and it's a long pathway. And he's in a white robe with gold on it, like what we see in his swarup at the back. He is walking ahead, and he keeps on turning to check whether I'm following him or not. I continue doing that, and this happens for quite some time. And that was what the dream was. But from that point, what his blessings were, Guruji Maharaj knows. But the shift that came in my health was tremendous. I was able to stand, walk, climb up stairs where I could not even take a step up. I was doing it so freely, so easily, without any pain. And when you get health, when you are healthy, there are so many things that you can do, which you were so restricted in your lifetime. So, with Guruji Maharaj, my experience, my thought, my realization has been this, Sangaji, that each one of us today on this earth, our lives are scattered in some form or the other, whether it is health, whether it is wealth, whether it is mental. So we are like those pins which are scattered all over. And he is that big magnet. So when we come under his radar, under that line, he aligns our lives. And this is what he does. From that moment, he took over my life because I knew that there was something much more than just him as a guru. And gradually, when you're on this path, when you make your connections with him, like Guruji Maharaj said, there are no mediators. You have to make your direct connection with me. And how do we make that direct connection? When we align our thoughts, our mind, we control it and we align it with him. So when we start doing that, he takes over. And every moment of our life, we realize that he's taking care of us. So this was the journey of my health initially. And with having, being able to experience this blessing of his, which is tremendous, he gave me that will, that thought that I should start having satsangs at home and to connect more people, because the blessings that I have received, I should be able to share his grace, what I'm doing right now, so that other people's too come into his fold. So within 3 or 4 months of my having come under his fold, I had my first satsang, the same place where I'm here. I don't know how to go about it because I have been to satsangs, but to be able to have it, because you have a lot of people coming for your satsangs. And I remember the first satsang I had, I told Anita, I said, Anita, we'll have a satsang on 14th February, which is Valentine's Day, which is my parents' anniversary. I have lost both my parents. And she said that she will organize everything. She'll help me out with it. And everything was done. She told me, you just sit with Guruji and just meditate with him. So we had the Shabad Bani playing. I was sitting with him. And I think it must have been about half an hour or so. I started getting this fragrance of roses, and it became so intense, so intoxicating that I was not able to breathe. And I just had to open my eyes and I looked, who has come in with so much perfume? And I saw nobody who had come additional to who was sitting with me that moment. And I could not see any roses over there. Anyway, his blessings were there. Later on, when I shared about what had happened, so I was told that that is Guruji Maharaj's fragrance, and he had come to bless you. So, a lot of shukrana to Guruji for being there, for showing his presence, because all this is his energy. Like Guruji Maharaj said, I have taken a human form to come and bless you. So, Sangaji, when we read the Shiv Puran, which is on Shiv, very clearly it is stated right in the beginning of Shiv Puran that when things go really bad on earth, when bad times have come, Shiv himself, our Lord, our God, our Master, will descend to earth to help us, to be able to heal us. He said, I've come here to tell each one of you that there is God. You people have forgotten that God is running the whole show of this earth. Every breath that we take is His grace. Every sound that we make is His grace. Every moment that we are alive is His grace. So He descended to earth in human form to bless us. He said, I am light. I've come from light and I will go back to it. But I'm here to bless you all, to put you on the right path. There are a lot of, he used to talk very little from what I have been hearing. And there are certain things which he said, which I'd like to share with you. He said to be good human beings, to make good causes, because every cause we make, there will be a reaction to every action we have, whether it is good or bad. Guruji Maharaj said, to be kind to people, be kind to every kind. He said, when you are in problem, instead of being stressed about it, instead of complaining about it, sit and meditate to me, talk to me, and I'm there for you. And this is what he does. He said to follow ABC. Now, what is ABC? ABC is not to accuse anybody, not to blame anybody, not to criticize anybody. Because whatever is happening in our lives, whatever we experience, whether it is good or whether it is bad, it is our karmas. If we understand that, then we understand that nobody is to blame for it. And Guruji Maharaj takes us in his fold when he knows that bad times are there, and he helps us. He sails us through those times. That is with day to day, we experience him in that same way. Secretary, I will share with you in COVID times, we all were listening to a lot of satsangs on Zoom platform like we are doing today. And because we were confined to our houses, we used to put on the Shabad Bani, listen to the satsangs, do a lot of part. And it was a 24/7 journey that moment with Guruji because there was nothing more to do. And his energy used to be so intense. When you're actually on that path, you can feel his energy. And I used to always feel that Guruji Maharaj, will I ever be able to talk to you? Will I ever be able to touch your lotus feet? So these were a lot of thoughts that, would come. But we understand that we should not ask because he doesn't need to be told anything. He knows everything. What is within us? Because we are a part of him and he resides within us. So one night in my dream, I see I'm in my house And it's the living room is there. I see my father, I see my mother, and I see my younger sister. Now, all three of them, I lost them some time back. And suddenly my father says, Guruji is coming. Now, I know my parents have never met Guruji because there was never ever any talk or mention of Guruji that time. But I see Guruji is walking in from the main door and he's wearing a white robe. And I see a chair, like we say, his gaddi, and I tell Guruji, please come and sit. And he sits down. And next to him, I see a garland. So I pick up this garland and I put it on his lotus feet. And the moment my finger touches his feet, it was as though 1,000 watts I've been absorbed by that. And I can still feel that when I'm sharing with you. Now, before that, I'd just like to mention that my younger sister used to keep very unwell, and she was like a daughter to me. But due to certain health reasons, I used to try to limit her intake of certain foods which she was not allowed, like chilies and sour food. But that is what she loved. And she always used to, in the hiding, eat that. So one day I had got very angry with her. And I told her, I said, how much effort we are all making for you, but you don't listen to us. So it was something very rude which I told her. But after I lost her, this was the thing which would keep pinching me. It would keep hurting me. And I think that was something at the soul level. Because whenever I would think about my sister, this would come up. So that day when he was in my dreams and I see him in the living room, he looks at me and tells me, you trouble your sister. He points at my sister and tells me, you trouble her. So I said, no, Guruji. So he just smiles and he says, okay. So that was the dream that I had. But there is so much more to understand in that. Firstly, he showed me that my parents and my sister are in his fold. They are with him. Second, he gives me his darshan. Third, I touch his lotus feet. And fourth, he talks to me. Fifth, whatever was hurting me within, it was totally erased. So now whenever I think of my sister, there is so much joy because I remember those beautiful times we have spent together. So like I said, we don't need to tell him anything. He said, believe in me. Don't ask me for anything because you people don't know. You people only see to a certain point. You can't see beyond the wall. I can see beyond the wall. What is good for you, I give you. But when you push me, when you force me to give you something, I'm a giver. I will give it to you. But whether it is good for you in the long run or not, that only time will tell you. So like the words he used was manno, mango nahi. And if he can really be that and be in the hukum that he wanted, life will become so much easier. And easier for us because we tend to connect with him at a deeper level. I will share with you this incident. It was the month of January. My birthday is in January. And 4 or 5 days prior to my birthday, I was sitting with some Sangat friends. We were, chatting and we were discussing about Guruji's grace, like we all do whenever we sit. The topic is always Guruji and his grace. So this one Sangat shared. She said, oh, my birthday is tomorrow. So I've told Guruji, I want this on my birthday. I want this on my birthday. That was her feelings. And everybody has the right because Guruji is our father. So I just closed my eyes and I just told Guruji, I said, Guruji, I just need your love. I need your grace. You've given me everything. And the day of my birthday, early morning, I get a dream where I see that I'm sitting on my bed. And from where the door is, from the doorway, I see this light, a round light, getting bigger and bigger and bigger and coming onto me, and it absorbs me totally. And when I open my eyes, I see there is so much greenery on the right. So Sangatji, that was such a beautiful gift that Guruji gave me. He showed me his presence by showing me the light that he is. There are so many incidents that we go through in daily life. Our blessings are immense, are tremendous. Like Guruji said, when you come into my fold, I give you life, I give you health, and then I give you what you want. So about a year and a half back, he was kind enough to extend my life, I would say, to give me new life. I was on a vacation, and one of my Sangat friends was having a satsang in Delhi. And Guruji, she had to do a shukrana, a thank you satsang, because Guruji had blessed her. Her daughter was cleared of cancer with his grace. And the message she got from Guruji was to have a big satsang. So now for a big satsang where you're going to have 300, 400 people coming in, you need a lot of people to be able to do seva in the darbar. So she had made a list, and I saw the group that was formed and my name was on that. And I was to come back 2 days prior to the satsang and after 2 days. So I just did an ardas, means I just prayed to Guruji that Guruji, I hope the seva I get is in your darbar and I'm able to stand near you. This was just a thought. And I think whatever such thoughts that come, they are not really ours. These are all given by him because he knows, like he said, you just see till the wall, I see much beyond. So the next day I get the message that Versha, your duty is in the darbar. I thank Guruji for that because he knew what was in my heart. Now, when I'm at the satsang, I reached there a little earlier. The timing was 6 p.m. I reached there at about 5:15. And it was summer that time. It was quite warm. So I was helping out with the last minute uh, designing and helping out in putting things in place. And when the satsang started, it was a 2 hours duration of the Shabad Bani. And I was standing near Guruji with folded hands and, you know, just in charge over there to see that everything is fine. I think about 1.5 hours had lapsed. And I was sweating profusely because when you are so close to him, his energy is amazing. And sometimes you're not able to absorb his energy. Like Guruji always said, that you people are 0 watts. I'm 1,000 watts. If you are too near me, or if you're not ready spiritually to be able to take my energy, then you people will just, blast. So when we keep going to Guruji, he fills us with his energy. So that day I was so close to him and I could feel his energy. And I think there was a reason because his energy is again a blessing because he's healing you from within. And like I said, I started feeling very uneasy about after an hour and a half. And I just prayed to him internally. I said, Guruji, there's half an hour more. I hope I can stand here because I want to stand here. But it was that moment that I heard him say, go from here. Just leave from here. I just left, and whoever was right, whoever I faced that moment, I told them to come over and take my place. And I went to the back, I found a chair which was vacant, and I went and sat there. And from the hot flushes which I was getting, I started getting cold flushes. I started sweating and I started feeling cold. And my breathing became labored. And suddenly I became blind. I could not see anything. It was all darkness, but when I would look towards the darbar, I could see some light over there. Otherwise, everything was totally dark. And I knew that there is still the last Shabad playing. I knew the mantra jap would come after that, the arti would come after that. But I lost my senses, I think, because from the last Shabad that was playing, when I actually became conscious, I think I must have become unconscious, or I was not there. I have no idea. But when I regained my consciousness, I saw that the arti was going on. I heard that the arti was going on because I could not see anything that moment. I tried to get up because that's how arti is done. And we stand up. But I was not able to do that. I just managed to stand a little and then I flopped back on my chair. And when the arti finished, I could see a shadow passing by. And I just said, "Excuse me, can I have some chai prasad?" Because till then, one had understood what prasad is. Because Guruji, with his prasad, the chai prasad, the langar prasad, the blessed food that we give, he would heal people of their cancers, their heart problems, their diabetes, physically, mentally, whatever illnesses you had would get healed. So this thought also which came that I want the chai prasad must have been put by him because that's what I asked. So whoever was there, I don't know who it was. Within a minute, the person was back with the chai prasad, the tea, and they gave it to me. And I started sipping it slowly. And that moment I heard a sound, somebody talking very familiar. So I just called out to her and she said, "What has happened?" I said, "I don't know. I'm totally cold and I'm not able to move. I can't see anything." And when she touched me, she said, "My God, you're ice cold." So immediately she called a few people. They said I needed to be taken to the hospital immediately. They put me on a wheelchair, which was available over there. And there was a doctor among the Sangat who took my blood pressure, and my blood pressure was literally 50, 60. Now, Sangatji, the chai prasad I had, I was able to finish it before I was leaving. And I think that is what was my medicine, which I had to take, which I was given to me, and I had asked for it. Because the duration from her place to the hospital was it took us about 20, 25 minutes. But in that duration, I gradually started getting my eyesight back. My breathing became better. I started feeling normal. The cold flushes became less. And when I reached the hospital and they took me into the emergency, when they took all my parameters, my blood pressure was back to normal. My breathing was fine. My saturation was fine. Everything was fine. And the doctor's looking at me and asking me, "Why have you come here?" So I just left, doing a lot of shukrana to Guruji because I knew what had happened. It is only he who can, from a zero, bring you back to 100. So I know that day he gave me a new life and everything was planned by him, where I had to be, because it was his energy that must have healed me. And that duration when I was not conscious, he brought me back, he gave me a new life. So I have a lot of gratitude to Guruji for everything. So Sangaji, again, the realization we get is wherever your blessings are written, he will see that you reach there. Now, I will share this incident. I'm talking about 2025 last year. November, it was early November or late October. I was in New Zealand and I had reached Christchurch. I remember, yeah, it was Christchurch. And I'd taken a flight and I reached there about 4:30. And I decided to go for a walk to the city center. And I said, I'll have my dinner there and I'll, come back to the hotel, relax, and then I have an early start in the morning. So I started walking, and with His grace, I'm able to walk 15,000, 20,000 steps effortlessly. That is His grace. From where I could not walk, I used to feel so scared even standing up and taking my first step. So I was passing through the restaurants, looking at the menu, everything, but I just could not walk in. And I continued walking. So nearly an hour had passed. And then I had decided, I said, I think I'll just pick up a wrap, go back to my hotel room, make some chai prasad, and have my sandwich or something which I'll pick up. So I put on the Google map so that I don't lose my way back. And as it is, it was nearly more than an hour that I had been walking, and I had been tired since morning. So I came from another route, and the Google was showing me another route. So I took that route, assuming that this would be a shortcut. And I must have reached about 304 meters, 300, 400 meters when I saw this cafe where there was written wraps and sandwiches. So I said, wow, this is fantastic. Now I can pick up something and take back. So I go in, and there are two boys who are at the counter making the food. I tell them, can you please pack me a wrap? They said, Auntie, why don't you sit and wait over here? So while I'm sitting, I get a message from my houseboy. Now, that day was Ashtami, and that is a day when we pray to the goddess. Like we say, Shiv is Shiv Shakti. He's the man and the female, both within him. He has the power of both within him. So I had told my houseboy that we offer food to the god. So I told him to put the plate of bhog in front of Guruji. And he had sent me the shot because in New Zealand, if it was 6:30, in India, it was 11 a.m. So that time he had put the bhog and he sent me a shot of it. And I looked at it and I told Guruji, from there only, I said, Guruji, please have it. And I told him, I said, Guruji, because what we have in the ingredients that we have for that bhog generally is puri prasad, we have chana prasad, and we have halwa prasad. But I told Guruji, I said, Guruji, I won't be able to eat that, so I'm just going to have a wrap over here. So that was something very innocently I told him, and that was it. And then by the time the boys called me, they said, your food is ready. I paid them, and I was about to leave. One of the boy tells me, just a moment, and he goes in. So I wondered, I said, is he going to give me some pickle or some French fries, the extras which generally sometimes they give you. So he comes back with a thermocol box and he gives it to me. I take it and I open it. And Sangaji, I was in tears because in that there was puri prasad, halwa prasad, chana prasad. What are the chances that you are miles and miles away from home in an unknown land? And what you have just offered God, your Guru, you are getting it back as prasad. And he tells me, he saw, he saw my face and he said, 10 minutes back, my friend had come and he brought the prasad. And when you were leaving, I wanted to give it to you. The thought came. So everything is micromanaged by Guruji. Everything is His grace, Sangaji. And that is what we need to understand, that we need to leave the reins of our life in His hands. He will take us to places where we can't even imagine. Yes, life is difficult for each one of us because we have our karmas to face. But He said, when I take you in my fold, I sail you through them. I don't let you break. Guruji Maharaj takes nearly 90% of the intensity of each karma that we have. And we are left with just that 10% or 5% to bear, which again, we find it very difficult. So you can imagine what He goes through. But because He's our Father, He's our Mother, He's our Creator, He does it for us. So in this journey, the realization that came, that when we first saw Guruji or came in His fold, for us, He was a Guru. In time, we realized that He's not just a Guru. He's Shiv, who is the Creator. And then he makes us realize that he is Mahashiv. He controls the entire cosmos. He is the creator of everything. And if he is our father, he is our mother, we have nothing to fear. He is our hope. He's everything for us. But what is important is to understand, is to be in his hukam. Hukam means to follow what he had said, to be good human beings. And he has made blessing so easy for us. He says, sit in a satsang with like minded people, meditate, eat the prasad, which he blesses. Listen to the satsang sharing, which I'm doing with you now, his blessings. And he said, my vibrations are both ways. The one who is sharing the blessings will also get blessed, and the person who's listening to it will also get blessed. I mean, how easy he's made life for each one of us. It is we who complicate our lives. When we come to Guruji, there is so much that we have been looking outwardly, materialistic things. And when we come into his grace, our thoughts may be there initially. But when the shift comes, when you realize that what is important is just his grace, his love, because that encompasses all. He gives you what you need. So I always have so much shukrana to Guruji, and my prayer is that he should bless everyone. Sarbat ka bhala kare. And may we all try to be better human beings. Try to bring Guruji into other people's lives so that they too are blessed. Thank you, Guruji, for eternally being there, loving us and keeping us in your fold. Thank you, Guruji. Thank you, Sangaji.
Thanks a lot. Very divine and blissful Sangat sharing by you, dear Versha Malhotra ji.
Thank you, Uncle. This is
On
precious.
behalf of on behalf of all the Sangat listening to this satsang, I wish to thank you for the valuable messages and experiences shared by you. They are blessings from our Guruji Maharaj indeed.
They are. There is no doubt about it, Uncle.
Yep. Now we will take Agya from Guruji Maharaj.
Yes.